A little short's an understatement. And if you don't get the second pun in there, you'll catch up later. All right. I'm supposed to say something like, no cap, fam. The facts be under attack in our whack world. There you go. All right. David, that was for you. I love you. All right. My subject, and it's not even something I think we should have to talk about, but we have to. So we're going to talk about the truth about truth. Because truth in our world is questioned constantly, and things that used to be held out as just reality, well, people don't believe them anymore. I don't know if you've heard, but even math is under attack, right? That seems like the most basic level of reality that we could start with. But before I get into anything like that, let me just start off with this. My name is Pastor Mike. I am blessed to be the associate pastor here at Parkside. I have known many of you, and so we're going to start off with a little game of two truths and a lie, which I had to think really hard about to try to find things that you wouldn't know or do know, maybe. And so I'm going to just give you this. You guys all know how to play two truths and a lie, right? Yeah, okay, I'm going to give you two things that are true and one's a lie, and it's your job to figure out which one the lie is. All right, so here's my two truths and a lie. First, I can only whistle backwards. Second, I broke my leg in middle school. And third, I wrote a love song to a coconut. All right, so this is your opportunity. You get to participate. We're going to do this a few times, participating in the midst of what I say. All right, so I want you to just listen to those one more time and then just hold up a 1, 2, or 3 for the one that you think is not true. All right, so 1, I can only whistle backwards. 2, I broke my leg in middle school. And 3, I wrote a love song to a coconut. 1, 2, or 3. Wow. There's only a few people that don't believe I wrote a love song to a coconut. Totally did that. It was at camp. It was a camp counselor, and we had like this castaway theme, and there was a special thing that you would get. It was like if you had the coconut, then your cabin was like winning, and I wrote a love song about the coconut. It's true, I can only whistle backwards. When I was a kid, I learned how to whistle, and now when I whistle like blowing out, I go... But if I whistle in, right, I can do it. But I never broke any of my bones, so there you go. Those are very simple things, right? But let me ask this question. I could have lied about all of those, and you would never know, right? But you assume in the fact of just the name of the game, two truths and a lie, that some of those things match up with reality and one of them doesn't. If that's not true, then we can't even play the game. Because we could play two truths and a lie, and we could all get in a big circle, and we could be going around, and if all of us are lying all of the time, or if our view of reality is completely skewed, then there's no way we could ever get anywhere in a game like that. In fact, there's no way we can get anywhere in life. The point of the game is to get to know each other by recognizing what is true and what isn't. But we live in a world that claims that the line between truth and lies, between reality and fiction, or truth and opinion, that line is really, really blurry. The theme of our conference, as David just mentioned, is die to live. And so we have to say, what do we even mean when we say that? And this weekend, you're going to hear a lot of truth claims. In fact, a few minutes ago, you were singing truth claims. Right? If you sang, there is nothing better than you, and we're singing to God, you are making a bold statement that says that God is absolutely the best out there. Nothing is better than him. That everything the world could throw up as like, this is great and you should pursue this. We just sang that all of that is nothing in comparison to who God is. Those are truth claims. The Bible is full of truth claims. In our youth group, we picked this thing up from summer camp last year, and so sometimes we take our Bibles and we hold them up above our heads, right, to say that what is in this book is true and has more authority than what's in my head, right? And if you're one of my students and you're like, oh, we know, and we come down with a whoosh, right, and it's awesome. But what if this isn't true? Or how do we know that it's true? You see, Jesus, the guy that the book is all about, he says some things. John 14:6, he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. But in our world, there's a lot of people that want to say that, well, Jesus is a way. and he's a good teacher. The truth, a good teacher though. And yeah, maybe he can make your life better. Like, but that's not what Jesus said. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. But what if truth doesn't exist? Then anything Jesus said doesn't matter. He also said in John 8:32, he said, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So Jesus seems to believe that there is something called truth, and there's a lot of things that aren't truth. And truth frees us. And we're talking about die to live. It's this idea that we really believe that there is one way to live that leads to freedom. It leads to joy. It leads actually to eternal life, a fullness that we can only barely grasp here. Even as we were singing a minute ago, and it was like, this is what heaven sounds like. And like, you know, in that song, we're praising God. And what do you think we're going to be doing for all of eternity? Not just singing in a choir, but enjoying the community of believers in the presence of God forever. It's going to be awesome. The truth will set you free. Well, if the truth sets us free, then what do lies do? Anything that's not true is then something, it's a chain, it's something that binds us, it's something that wraps us up, it's something that takes us down away from life. And we say die to live because that's what Galatians 2:20 is all about. Die to live. It means that we die to ourselves and to our own ability to determine what truth is, and we live in what God has said truth is. And when we die to ourselves, we find freedom and life. But we live in a world that is living based upon their own ideas, lies that don't lead to freedom, but lead to bondage and eventually to death. And so every speaker you're going to hear tonight, every one of us is going to be making truth claims, right? Bold statements that they want you to accept because they believe that there is right and there is wrong, and that right leads to benefit, whereas wrong leads to painful consequences. That truth leads to life, and lies, everything else leads to death. So before we can even touch any other topic, we have to answer a couple of questions. Before we can look at the consequences of what we believe, or our foundation for those beliefs, we have to ask two questions, right? One, what is truth? And two, why does truth matter? So that's my job as we get things going here. Is we're going to answer those two questions. One, what is truth? And two, why does truth matter? So first, let's define truth. And I'm going to give you a very simple definition. Truth is what is real. Truth is what is real. And if you get on your phone right now, don't do it. All right, I know you all have them, right? But if you got on your phone and you just looked up what is the definition of truth, you're going to find something like truth aligns with reality, or truth aligns with the actual world, right? Truth aligns with, we use the words facts, right? And nowadays, it's like people use the word fact, and that's probably not even a fact, right? It's just a claim. But truth is something that aligns with reality. So let me ask you a question. If I jump off the stage, can I fly? Yes. No. Thank you, Keo. All right, no, in case you didn't know, I'm not Superman. I love Thor, but I don't even have a hammer. I have a little tiny one, right? I have lots of Thor Legos, but that's not the same, right? I can't fly, and if I believe in my mind that I can fly, and I decide to jump off the roof of the building, what will happen to me? My choice will lead to painful consequences. Most likely my death, but probably something just like laying there in pain and then going to the hospital for a long time and causing issues for my wife and my 4 children, right? Truth is what is real. It's such a simple idea. And at the base, at the core level of ourselves, we know this. It's not something that we argue about. And yet, you're going to have people arguing about whether or not something is true, like 2 + 2 is 4. So to help us understand what truth is, we have to maybe look at what truth isn't. Because these are the things that our world will tell us. Truth isn't subjective. Truth is not subjective. Have you ever seen that picture of 2 people standing and they're looking at a number on the ground? It's on the sidewalk. and this person says, it's a 6. And this person over here says, it's a 9. Have you ever seen that? Raise your hand. Yeah? Oh, not many of you. Okay. All right. This is a common picture shown to show that truth is subjective. It's all a matter of perspective. It's a matter of where you're looking at it. But the truth is, whoever put the number on the sidewalk knew what they were writing, right? They knew if it was a 6 or a 9. You might not know because you don't know the source of truth. Truth is not subjective. Truth is not something that we can choose. It just is. Truth is not opinion. If you're taking notes, this is what you write down. Truth is not opinion. In my opinion, chocolate is better than vanilla. How many of you would disagree with me? You're all wrong, okay? But the truth has nothing to do with what I like, right? My opinion is that chocolate is better than vanilla. All vanilla should go into the trash can, right? Did you know that vanilla actually was created in the process of making chocolate, and then finally, like Queen Elizabeth was like, let's just have vanilla. Blast you. All right. Anyways, and this ruined ice cream forever, okay? But I may choose an opinion that chocolate is better than vanilla, but the truth in that statement is that Mike Rich believes that chocolate is better than vanilla, but it doesn't actually make one of those two things better. Truth is not mine. You should grab that. Truth is not mine. And you're going to walk around, you're going to hear people say things like, well, that's your truth. This is my truth. No such thing. Truth is not mine. I am not the arbiter of truth. Truth aligns with what is real, not with what I want to be real. And we're going to kind of walk through some of these things, and I'll give you a very visual demonstration in a minute. Truth is not feelings. Truth is not your feelings. God gave us feelings. They're important. They're good things when we take our feelings and we align them with truth. But when we try to live in the world as if our feelings define truth, we're going to find we live in a mess. How I feel about the truth does not change reality, does it? And so if God says this and I don't like it, and guys, you're here, I'm assuming, because you realized that you're going to a Christian conference at a church, right? If you didn't, welcome. We're glad you're here, right? And as we look at these things, there's a lot of hard stuff in the Bible, isn't there? Jesus does not say anything like, do whatever you want and I'll get you to heaven. It's not going to find that. He says a lot of really hard things. And if I don't like those things, it doesn't change what truth is. I don't like the fact that I can't fly, but it doesn't change reality, does it? The last for what truth isn't, truth is not culturally defined. How many of you guys have heard the word postmodernism? A few? Okay, all right. This is kind of the general worldview of what you live in. There's a bunch of people, they think this way, that truth is defined by what my community thinks, right? But no matter how many people think that something wrong is true, it does not change reality. Because if we all truly believe in our hearts that we can fly, and we jump off the roof of the building, well, the people that land on top of the pile will survive, right? Group opinion does not change reality, but it does make it hard to discover what reality is or what truth is. So the answer to question number 1 is really simple. Truth is what is real. But question number 2 is a little bit harder. Why does truth matter? Do I have to live in accordance with the truth? And if we just think about that very simply, if I believe that the bus that is coming will not kill me, and I keep standing in the middle of the road, reality wins. Why does truth matter? And before I say anything else, I want to show you just a little Monty Python clip. How many of you guys know what Monty Python is? All right, and for the rest of you, it's British humor, and if you don't get it, you might later. or you might have to watch it 3 times, okay? But that's fine. So the lights are going to go down, and we're just going to watch a little clip.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to have an argument, please.
Certainly, sir. Have you been here before?
No, this is my first time.
I see. Do you want to have the full argument, or were you thinking of taking a course?
Well, what would be the cost?
Well, yes, it's £1 for a 5-minute argument, but only £8 for a course of 10.
Well, I think it's probably best if I start with the 1 and see how it goes from there, okay?
Fine. I'll see who's free at the moment. Mr. Dubake is free, but he's a little bit conciliatory. Yes, sir. Try Mr. Barnard, room 12.
Thank you.
Hi.
Is this the right room for an argument?
I've told you once.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
When?
Just now.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
I did.
Didn't.
I'm telling you I did.
You did not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this a 5-minute argument or the full half hour?
Oh, just the 5-minute one.
Fine. Thank you. Anyway, I did.
You most certainly did not.
Now, let's get one thing quite clear. I most definitely told you.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
Yes, I did.
Didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, this isn't an argument.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. It's just contradiction.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
It is. You just contradicted me.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did.
No.
You did just then.
No, nonsense.
Oh, look, this is futile.
No, it isn't.
I came here for a good argument.
No, you didn't. You came here for an argument.
Well, an argument's not the same as contradiction.
Can be.
No, it can't. An argument's a connected series of statements to establish a definite proposition.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. It isn't just contradiction.
Look, if I argue with you, I must take up a contrary position.
But it isn't just saying, no, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. Argument's an intellectual process. Contradiction is just the automatic gainsaying of anything the other person says.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Not at all.
No, look.
Thank you. Morning.
What?
That's it. Morning.
But I was just getting interested.
Sorry, the 5 minutes is up.
That was never 5 minutes just now.
I'm afraid it was.
No, it wasn't.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to argue anymore.
What?
If you want me to go on arguing, you'll have to pay for another 5 minutes.
But that was never 5 minutes just now. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous.
I'm very sorry, but I told you I'm not allowed to argue unless you pay.
Oh, all right. There you are.
Thank you.
Well,
Well, what?
that was never 5 minutes just
I
now.
told you I'm not allowed to argue unless you pay.
I just paid.
No, you didn't.
I did. I did. Look, I don't want to argue about that.
Well, I'm very sorry, but you didn't pay.
Aha! Well, if I didn't pay, why are you arguing? Gotcha.
No, you haven't.
Is that? If you're arguing, I must have paid.
Not necessarily. I could be arguing in my spare time.
I've had enough of this.
No, you haven't.
Oh, shut up.
So that's just obviously a little skit. Have you ever had a discussion or a conversation with someone that sounded like that? Where you realize that you don't live in the same world, and you're trying to talk about something and you're just talking right past each other. And even in the midst of a goofy sketch like that, the guy who pays for the argument, he tries to use definitions. He tries to say, this means something, and all the other guy does is say, no, it isn't. Right? No, it doesn't. And that's it. That's the whole conversation. Why is truth important? Real communication without truth is impossible. You cannot have meaningful dialogue. You cannot discuss. You cannot learn. You cannot talk. You cannot relate to other people without truth. Because if there's not a real world that we live in that is outside of us and beyond us, then we can't actually live in the same world. In order to live and communicate together, we must ground our thoughts, our speech, our actions on truth, not our opinions or our feelings or what our friends say. Without truth, communication, real communication, is impossible. And we just have arguments like that, or contradictions, I should say, that really are nothing, get nowhere, and eventually leave us all frustrated. But there's something deeper than that, because we could just say, communication, I guess we can just, as long as I agree on truth with somebody else, right? The real, it's hard to not even use words like this. I'm like, the real problem or the truth or the actual, right? These are the words we just use. Here's the bottom line. We live in a real world with real choices that lead to real consequences. We live in a real world with real choices that lead to real consequences. I need 6 volunteers. Ooh, I like it. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to pick you. And I'm sorry, Nick, I'm not picking you. You're one of my volunteers. Reagan. Yep, Alicia. And you. I don't know your name, but you. Yep, come on up. Okay. And you. And you. Yes. I don't know your name, so I can't do better than you. All right. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now go back to where you were sitting. That's okay. Now, David, this is where you come in. David. Okay. No, stand up. Sorry. I'm not making this very clear. I want you just to stand where you were sitting, but don't sit. All right. I need you to go give those envelopes to those people. And what we're going to do is we're just going to have a little, there is 6, right? Okay, I can count. Phew. All right, 6 did not suddenly become 7. All right, and what we're going to do, don't open them yet, is we're going to have a little treasure hunt. How many of you guys like treasure hunts? All right, good. All right. For those of you that are sitting, you don't get to be part of it. So deal with it. Over there. There we go. All right. And when you open your envelope, you're going to notice a set of instructions, but your set of instructions was written by somebody. Yes, we know it was me, but that's not the point of the game, okay? But the set of instructions is written by somebody as labeled on your envelope. And so what I need you to do is to follow the instructions exactly as they are given to you. Ready, set, go. Everybody else just laugh, and it's going to be a great time. Some of you guys can laugh on command. It's awesome. All right. At this point, I think some of you are not very good at following directions. We might be getting close. Don't stop. Have you found it yet? But you must follow your directions. Is it? Are you going to take it? Probably. Okay. All right. Stay where you are. One person had instructions that led them to a prize. Can you hold it up? What'd you get? Reese's, right? You got a 4-pack, so you can share. And the rest of you got? Nothing. Besides confused, maybe. Or disappointment. And unfortunately, because we live in a real world and I want to demonstrate that, I'm not going to give you anything. You don't get any conciliatory prizes, or you just get participation. And so, because I will be slightly kind, you guys can all go sit down now. Thank you. Give him a round of applause. All right. And now we all get to see what happened there, because they all live in the same world, but they all had a different set of instructions, or in other words, their worldview was different, and it led them to different conclusions. One of them, it led them to a prize, and the rest of them did not. And so we're just going to look at these. The first set of directions came from Mrs. Reality, right? And Mrs. Reality, obviously, is aligned with truth, the world as we actually live in it. And so she had a set of directions that who got the candy? What's your name? When Abby followed her directions, they led to a prize, and she is going to be able to enjoy that or not if she's allergic to peanut butter. In which case, come see me later. I'll buy you something, all right? Maybe a shirt or hat, all right? She had real instructions that led to a real result, instructions that were based on truth that led to a benefit to her life. The next person had directions given by Miss Finish, right? Miss Finish was in a hurry, and so she left out the vast majority of the instructions. I believe that was Reagan, right? You got to the front of the room, so did she, and you both turned, but you were left with turn, right? It didn't get you anywhere because you had some of the truth, but not all of it. The next set of instructions came from Mr. Intelligent. Mr. Intelligent, he knew where the stuff was. Well, he thought he knew where the stuff was. The thing is, his truth was based on what he thought, not upon the actual real world. And so even though he had really clear instructions, they led over there, which was not over there. And if you think about that in terms of whether or not we get a candy bar, it's not such a big deal. But in the reality of the world, ending up miles and miles from your destination is not beneficial for your life. Next was Mr. Mixture. Mr. Mixture had all of the right instructions in the wrong order. Who had Mr. Mixture? No, you had Miss Reality. If you followed Mr. Mixture's instructions to the right location, oh, we got problems in here. Who had Mrs. Reality's instructions? And so, in light of this, good night, y'all. No. I don't even know how that happened, because if you followed the instructions, that's actually impossible. But that's okay. That's all good. Mr. Mixture had a set of instructions that would lead to the wrong location. He had all of the right directions, but in the wrong order, which would have led not in the right place. Next is Mr. Abstract. Mr. Abstract, he lives in a world that he creates in his own mind with instructions like search for the prize. Who had that one? Where are you? And you are doing such a good job following the instructions. Chairs are just obstacles to be overcome. This sounds good, right? What do you think the prize should be? Let nothing stop you in your pursuit, right? You deserve the prize. Don't you deserve the prize for trying? But that last one, are you doing that? Did you get to enjoy the prize? Oh. Because Mr. Abstract was defining truth based on what he thought he wanted or you wanted or what is inside of you rather than what's around you. And then finally, I believe it's Miss Illusion. Miss Illusion denies that truth even exists. It's the attempt to live in denial of reality, and there are people who truly believe in things like this. All paths lead to the prize. Choose yours. Who had Miss Illusion? Did you get to the prize? You literally stood right there the whole time, huh? All paths lead to the prize. You didn't even pick a path. You just stood there. That's a choice, though. You chose it, right? You must discover your own inner prizeness. Did you? You feel so much better about yourself. All right. Would you feel better if you had Reese's? Probably. Okay. The prize is no longer trying to find the prize. Meditate on what it means to be prize. How long could you spend doing that without ever receiving the Reese's? A long time. Each of these sets of instructions aligns with people who are out there in the world today. People who want to convince you to think and to live as they do. To live as if truth is a matter of your opinion, your feelings, and your desires. Or to live in a way that the world isn't even a real place and that really all we have to do is focus on inner characters or inner qualities as if we are the summation of all of reality. There are a lot of people who think that they have the answers, but their roadmap leads to the wrong place. There are some people that are very confused and somehow still end up at the right spot. And there are some people that have the roadmap and still don't get there. What this is supposed to show us, though, is we live in a real world where we make real choices that lead to real consequences. Again, Galatians 2:20, I have been crucified with Christ. Do you hear the death in that sentence? I have been crucified with Christ. I am dead. Man, if we're going to claim this upon ourselves, that's heavy. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life that I now live, I live by faith in the Son of God who loves me and gave himself for me. Think about those words. If Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and he really died on the cross because he loves you, and he really beat death by rising again 3 days later, and he really offers you eternal life, isn't that the best prize ever? But do we live in a world where we believe the truth of those words, where we're willing to accept them? Truth is what is real. Truth is really important because we live in a real world where you and I make real choices that lead us to real consequences. And this isn't some kind of abstract thought that we have to somehow pull into our minds. We live it every single day. How many of you failed a test this year? Because you live in a real world where your real choices led to real consequences. Amen? You don't actually want to say amen to that because it's really self-condemnation. No, it's okay. Here's what we believe. Truth is real, and it matters. We have to die to ourselves, our own desire to rule and to make reality according to the way we want it to be. We have to die to that. Then we can live in the freeing truth that God gives us, that leads us to the greatest benefits possible, that Jesus Christ alone provides. My job tonight was just to answer those two questions. And I hope that if you came in here and you're thinking something along the lines of the world is whatever I want it to be. On Thursday nights, I teach a 4th through 6th grade youth group, and we're talking about different worldviews, and last night we're dealing with this, and guys, almost every Disney movie wants you to believe that you are the sum total of reality. You think about Moana, I am Moana, right? I am the one. It's okay if I get lost because I am the one that makes the way, right? Frozen 2, you are the one you've been looking for. If you are the sum total of reality, we're all doomed. If my choices define what's real in the world, you're all doomed. But if the world is real, and we have a roadmap to truth, then oh my goodness, we just have to make the right choices and we can live in freedom and joy and hope. And so the third question that I'm not going to answer is, where do we find truth? And that is the job of the next guy. His name is Joseph. But before he comes up, you guys are all going to take a little bit of a break. And so I think, David, are you going to tell him to take a break or do something? All right. So you guys have 5 minutes? 5 minutes. So in that 5 minutes, here's what I want you to do. 1, get a drink of water, use the restroom, go sign up for some breakout sessions, take a couple pictures, high-five somebody, tell your leader that they're awesome, and text somebody that didn't show up tonight that you knew was supposed to be here. Yo, you're missing out. All right, with that, I'm just going to pray because everything that comes after this is going to be even better, all right? Let me pray, and then you guys can have a break.